I'm grateful to you.
अच्छा बेटे, और सबका बहुत धन्यवाद है, शुक्राना है।
सत्कार योग सात्संग जी, उठे नहीं बैठे रहें, बेनती परवान करें। कोई बहन भाई उठे ना, कोई बहन भाई अपने स्थान से उठे ना, बैठे रहें आप। हजूर की मेहर दया जहाँ भी हम हैं वहाँ तक पहुँचती है। भावना जो अपनी है वो हजूर तक रखें, बख्शिश मिल रही है। शुक्राना है सात्संग जी, आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Great Master used to say, his teaching, his method, the path of the Masters, Sant Mat, is meant for the brave, not for the weak. You have to be a warrior. He used to use the word. You have to be a warrior to be in this path. Why did he say that? What is the need to be brave and warrior in order to meditate and find yourself? He explained that many of us cannot cope up with the pralabdha, the destiny we are born with. And we try to run away from it. We are cowards. If we cannot face what we designed as an experience of destiny, then that is not a spiritual path at all. That's escapism. The path of the Master says, you should be strong and be warriors and face your life where you have been placed in the middle. Cope up with all the ups and downs of destiny. And then in the middle of it, escape and go back to your home from this network into which you have come.
Everyone. I think Eva is still at work, but she's with us. But I'll read the schedule. We have a gorgeous schedule today. Look how beautiful. So beautiful. Master just through his lovers just shows his art. So we have a ghazal by Sumit, and in whatever direction the beloved turns, there is only spring. Wow, I'm looking forward. And then there's an introduction by me. After me, Tina Dillon, our dear sister, she's gonna explain the Japji Sahib. She's gonna talk about the Japji Sahib, and then we're gonna play our Holy Father Ishwar Puri Ji and meditate in love and devotion. So enjoy Master's blessings. So let's start with Sumit.
Dear brothers and sisters, this ghazal is written by Sandarshan Singh Ji Maharaj. I will translate this ghazal in English. In whatever direction the beloved turns, there is only spring. The autumn stickens, path suddenly bloomed and blossomed. Whatever direction the beloved turns, there is only spring. This is not a matter of the senses, but a one of the becoming oblivious to oneself. For I replied with an answer quite unrelated to the questions he asked. In whatever direction the beloved turns, there is only spring. As the beauty of the beloved's eyes caught the light of mine, it became even more ravishing and irresistible. In whatever direction the beloved turns, there is only spring. I was spared the benevolence of the highway robber. On the path I have travelled, his work was done by my guide. In whatever direction the beloved turns, there is only spring. There was neither intoxication in the winter, nor fragrance in the evening. The garden of my heart is sad. For when he stops, the karma of the springs also stops. In whatever direction the beloved turns, there is only spring. I was so lost in the glimpse of the beloved, I was not aware. I hear he passed closely by many a times. In whatever direction the beloved turns, there is only spring. Darshan's voice had grown weak, filled with grief. The coming of the beloved has showered flowers in the silence of his heart. In whatever direction the beloved turns, there is only spring. The autumn-stricken paths suddenly bloomed and blossomed. So now I will sing this ghazal. वो पैकरे बाहर थे जिधर से वो गुजर गए, वो पैकरे बाहर थे जिधर से वो गुजर गए, खजान नसीब रास्ते भी सज गए, संवर गए, सज गए, संवर गए, वो पैकरे बाहर थे। ये बात होश की नहीं, ये रंग बेखुदी का है, ये बात होश की नहीं, ये रंग बेखुदी का है। मैं कुछ जवाब दे गया, वो कुछ सवाल कर गए, मैं कुछ जवाब दे गया, वो कुछ सवाल कर गए, वो पैकरे बाहर थे जिधर से वो गुजर गए, वो पैकरे बाहर थे। मेरी नजर का ज़ौक़ भी शरीके हुस्न हो गया, मेरी नजर का ज़ौक़ भी शरीके हुस्न हो गया, वो और भी संवर गए, वो और भी निखर गए, वो और भी संवर गए, वो और भी निखर गए, वो पैकरे बाहर थे जिधर से वो गुजर गए, वो पैकरे बाहर थे। मेरे जनों से तो बचा रहे हयात में, मगर मेरे जनों से तो बचा रहे हयात में, मगर जो काम रह जनों का था, वो राहबर ही कर गए, जो काम रह जनों का था, वो राहबर ही कर गए, वो पैकरे बाहर थे जिधर से वो गुजर गए, वो पैकरे बाहर थे। ना जामे मुल ना शामे गुल, चमन उदास उदास है, ना जामे मुल ना शामे गुल, चमन उदास उदास है, वो क्या रुके कि काफिले बाहर के ठहर गए, वो क्या रुके कि काफिले बाहर के ठहर गए, वो पैकरे बाहर थे जिधर से वो गुजर गए, वो पैकरे बाहर थे। हमें तो शौक़े जुस्तजू में होश ही नहीं रहा, हमें तो शौके जुस्तजू में होश ही नहीं रहा। सुना है वो तो बारहा करीब से गुजर गए। सुना है वो तो बारहा करीब से गुजर गए। वो पैकरे बाहर थे जिधर से वो गुजर गए। वो पैकरे बाहर थे नवाए दर्शने हजी बहुत नहीफ थी मगर नवाए दर्शने हजी बहुत नहीफ थी मगर फजाए दिल की खामोशी में फूल से बिखर गए। फजाए दिल की खामोशी में फूल से बिखर गए। वो पैकरे बाहर थे जिधर से वो गुजर गए। वो पैकरे बाहर थे जिधर से वो गुजर गए। खजान नसीब रास्ते भी सज गए संवर गए। सज गए संवर गए। वो पैकरे बाहर थे। वो पैकरे बाहर थे। वो पैकरे बाहर थे। थैंक यू।
Good morning, everyone. Wow, Sumit, your shabd is so beautiful. Just the love in your voice for your master. It's just so, so profound. Thank you so much. My dear holy family, welcome to satsang, where we all gather every day to drink the nectar, to feel, to imbibe the love, to walk in the love, speak in the love, talk in the love of the masters. Wow, this Shabd of the morning, Satgur Mera Pura, Satgur Mera Pura, just the word Satgur brings goosebumps to the body. It brings chills. The word Satgur. Why? To the lovers. Why? Because the lovers are so in love, so deeply in love with the beloved that just his name, Satgur, just brings chills, makes the hair stand up on the lover's body. And that's what it does to my body. I get goosebumps just to hear the word Satgur, to see my master's turban, Sant Singh, to look at his turban. I could not stop looking at his turban. His turban is gorgeous. His hair, his beard, his white dress, his movement, his grace, that cannot be described, especially when you are in the presence of the physical master. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. It's an undescribable love. The love, how he moved the people, how he moved the people. There was a power of God, God Himself, Satpursh, just moving the people like a wave when He walked. They moved like a wave because their soul danced. Their soul danced. Everybody, when He moved, when He walked, was so attentive, just like holding a target, putting all your attention on the target. This is how the lovers of God put their attention on the Master, unblinking, just total concentration on the beauty, on the grace, on the love, on the light. Because soul knows everything. Soul knows that the oversoul is residing in that body. Soul knows that that body is where is the alpha, the omega, and in between. It's where all the love exists. All the love exists in that human body that made his body the temple of God. He allowed God to fully live in his body because he was a true lover of the Lord that never left the arm of the Lord. And that's what the true lovers do. They never ever let go. They never ever let go of the arm of the beloved. When that happens, slowly, the beloved starts to be in the indweller in the body of the lover. He starts to make his house. He starts to clean the house. The house has to be cleaned. The house has to be purified. The house has to be prepared for the King of Kings. Because when the King of Kings has to show himself fully, everything has to be pure, everything has to be clean, and everything has to be in order. So that song, Satgur Mera Pura, it's saying, why are you sad, my mind? My mind, why are you sad? You have a perfect master. You have a perfect master. And all that is needed is a perfect master. A perfect master of the highest order. A perfect master where Satpursh, where Father God is fully living. Father, I mean father and mother and brother and sister, is fully living. That power of God is whole, there, is fully there. Then we can relax, then we can just have full confidence, full trust. We can lay and sleep on his boat. We can sleep worryless. Why? Because he is perfect. All what is needed is a perfect master. If the master was not perfect, then there could be worry. There could be worry that where is he taking us? Where is he taking us? But if the master is true, if the soul tells you from within that this master is where God lives, then it is true. It comes as an intuition. It comes as a sudden love. It comes as a magnetic force of soul being attracted to the oversoul, like a big magnet, divine magnet that draws the soul to the oversoul, and that the inferno of love starts, and that the soul knows. The soul knows. Soul knows truth. Truth cannot be hidden from the soul. If the soul is deluded, it could be only for a small, short while, and then because soul is after truth. And if soul is after ultimate truth, it cannot be deluded by an imperfect master. That the light shows itself. The light shows itself, and all darkness runs away. So, all what is needed is the yearning for the highest, to yearn for the highest, which is the kingdom of God and nothing below that totally that automatically manifests the perfect master. When the soul yearns for the highest truth, for the creator of all the deities, for the creator of all the gods and the goddesses and the angels and all the universe, for the primordial power, for the ultimate power, when the soul yearns for that, then the inner self, the God inside of us, inside this temple, manifests the outer master, manifests the outer master, the perfect one. All what is needed is the full yearning for God and the full yearning for the kingdom of God. Once the soul meets the perfect master, the awakening happens. The awakening happens, and that awakening is the most beautiful feeling. It's the most beautiful feeling to know when you are lost, when you are lost in a forest or in a desert and you are thirsty and you have no place to go and there are wild animals that can eat you up and you are scared, and then you find a guide. This is the feeling. You find the guide that will take you to the oasis where you will survive, This is the feeling of finding a perfect master. It cannot be described. It's a feeling of an awakening. It's a feeling of an awakening of love. And with that love comes the confidence, the trust, and to relax, relax, and relax fully. That I have found the purpose of life. I have found why God has sent me here. Why God has sent me here. And that question was on my mind since what I swear since I was like a little child, like why am I here? Why do I? And then when I grew up and went to college, I couldn't find anything that interested me. All what interested me is Borders bookstore where I could read about spirituality. That was my only interest, and I could not know. I went through my BA and then I went through my master's, and I just chose subjects I wasn't interested in because I didn't know. I had no I didn't want anything from this world. I didn't want to become a doctor. I didn't want to become anything. I just wanted. I remember one time there is a story. My uncle, my worldly family, and my uncle used to take us every week to like a restaurant, me and my cousins. And when he used to, I remember one time he introduced us to somebody who came, one of his friends, and he said, "This is George, and he wants to become a doctor," and he became a doctor. My cousin George. This is Nader, and he wants to become also a doctor, and he became a doctor. And then he came to my turn, and this is Mike. He just wants to sit under an olive tree and meditate. And he said it's so true. That's what I only wanted. I just wanted to just find myself, and that was when I was young. That was when we were still, I think, when I was 18 years old or 17 years old, and I was so confused, didn't know why I'm here, and didn't like anything in college that I wanted to study. All what I wanted is to sit under an olive tree and find myself. And then a few years later, by the grace of God, by the grace of Sant Singh, wow, he gave me the holy light. He gave me the holy sound. He gave me himself. I fell in love directly. Directly when the first sight I saw my master, the glorious one. My master is the greatest, he who protects me. Oh my God, I fell in love. Love. I fell in love. When the lover falls in love, what happens? He gives his life for his lover, for his beloved. He gives his life. That means when there is true love of the lover to the beloved, then then the lover molds his life just to please the beloved. And this is the greatest achievement of any human being who just starts to mold his life in love for his beloved. That whatever pleases the beloved, whatever pleases the beloved, whatever pleases my master, I want to do. And that's when the soul awakens and it just wants to serve the master. It just wants to serve the master and only wants to please the master. That's when the soul starts to look at the mind, its mind, the mind that is attached to it, all the horrible things that is attached to it, like anger, lust, greed, ego, and all vices. The soul starts to look within. It starts to see this has to go, this has to go, this has to go, and that has to go. And then, in order for the beloved to only remove the veil, in order for the soul to feel more and more and more and more of the beloved, as it becomes addicted. It's an addiction. It's an addiction that cannot be described. To be for when soul is addicted to over soul, when the human being, the lover is addicted to the beloved, when we're addicted to the even the look of the master, the words of the master, the words of the master, they become so healing. And when the soul is so in love with the master, it wants to hear the master 24/7, 24/7. And that that is a great thing, because to hear the words of the master, and my master Sant Singh, his words were so soothing, so soothing. They are on YouTube. If you want to watch, just type his name and you can sleep on his voice. You can put him at night. He is so soothing. And to listen to the master day and night, then what happens? Then like we have dreams of the master. We have dreams of the master. We get the blessings of the master. So to listen to Ishwar Puri ji or to your beloved master is a great thing, because it keeps the connection. It keeps the connection. That whining of the dog for his master. You know how the dog whines for his master when his master is not there, like when his master is at work, the dog starts to whine. That whining of the dog for his master is the connection, is the real connection. And it is that whining of our soul. Why? It's whining, it's really whining and crying. It wants to be with the beloved, it wants to be with the master. And that cry is the connection. So we have to watch that cry, nourish that cry, that it becomes more and more and more, because only when that cry becomes tears, translates to tears of love, to rivers of tears of love for the beloved, to when that fire of love becomes a volcanic fire, it becomes an inferno. This is when the lover, when the beloved shows himself. This is when the beloved shows himself as the fire of love. It grows to become an inferno. That inferno of love is what removes the veil. That inferno of love is what is needed. Those tears of love that that the saint Saint Kabir or and many other saints describe those tears of love for the beloved. That angels come for that person, for that human body who's crying for his master, who's crying for God. That angels come to collect those drops of water, those drops of tears, because each drop is like a precious jewel that is priceless. And those tears, the pain of separation, that pain of separation is what brings the master. That he wants us with that fire of love to burn the veil. The veil can only be burned with the fire of love. And and that thick veil of the mind, that thick veil of the mind needs a lot of inferno fire. It needs the big fire. The mother of all fires will remove the veil, the mother of all fires, a volcanic fire. That is what is needed to remove the veil and to get the draw, to get the pull, the pull of the Master's hand to take us beyond time and space, to take the soul beyond time and space. There has to be an inferno of love, an inferno of love that breaks all the walls. It's like a rocket going up. And when the rocket goes up, it needs a tremendous power. It needs a tremendous power to go beyond the gravity of the earth. And the same way, the lover needs a tremendous power. And that power is the yearning, the volcanic love, the inferno of love from within that removes the veil. And then we end up where? In the lap of Satpurush, in the lap of God. It's only a perfect master from beyond time and space can pull us beyond the mind, can pull us with love beyond the mind. And in order for that to happen, we have to grow in our love. We have to grow in our love until it becomes volcanic. I pray for Master every day that love in me becomes an inferno that really breaks everything, that every moment of my life becomes just master, master, and master. And all the other moments that steal my time, as my human birth, our human birth is so precious, and it only has limited amount of breaths, limited amount of breaths. Each one of us has a number of breaths. Once that number is out, then we leave the body. So every breath, the masters and saints say, every breath make it into God. Every breath make it into a yearning. Every breath think of master. Think of master day and night, day and night, and day and night. What happens when we do that? We become receptive. We're open. We're always having our cup towards God and master, not upside down, but towards. When we think of the world, then the cup becomes upside down. And why? because then all the five enemies, anger, lust, greed, ego, and attachment, they infiltrate us. They infiltrate us, and then our cup is upside down, and then all the attributes of fear, worry, and frustration, and just sadness come to us. But when we always thinking of the master, we're always receptive, and we are using every moment to fill our cup. That cup at some point will be full to the brim. When it's full to the brim, it will start to overflow. It will start to overflow. That means it will start to bless first our family, first our loved ones, then our friends, then everybody who comes in our contact. And then when we flow more and more in the love of God, then we will bless our city, will be a blessed city. Why? Because love is being poured everywhere we walk in our city or in our state or in our country. We are dripping love. We are leaking the love of God everywhere we go. People, when that love is being leaked everywhere, people get it. People get it. People, it goes into their soul. It goes into their soul. Then they feel that, wow, this person has something. This person has something that we don't. We are dead and he's alive. He has life in him. He has life in him. So in order to fill our cup or our jar with that love, our attention has to be continuously on the master, and there has to be no leaks, and there has to be no holes in the bottom of our jar where the blessing of master comes from one way and then we lose it in another way. That has to be preserved. That has to be preserved. The water of life, the manna of life has to be preserved in order for it to grow and to start to overflow from the top of the jar. Otherwise, if it's leaking from the bottom, then it will never be overflown. It will never be full. It will never be full. So the masters teach us, they teach us how to keep our cup full with the grace of the master. And that is, of course, to live a pure life, a content life, a chaste life, where we only, because if we don't live that type of life, what happens to us? Then the five enemies attack us they attack us ruthlessly. They destroy us. Then we start to become angry. Then why do we get angry? When we hear something we don't like, our ego gets affected, we become angry. Or if there is a desire that we have, and the desires, most of them come through attachments. First, we get attached to somebody or something, and then if we don't get them, then we get angry. So all the five opposites of God, the five enemies of God, are related to each other. They are all related to each other, and one causes the other. One causes the other. Attachment causes anger, and anger. You know what comes with anger? Anger just makes us into animals. It changes us from a human being, a divine human being, to an animal human being. That is the difference. That's how we can check ourselves. How angry are we getting when we are tested? When the test comes, when master always shows us our condition. He shows us our condition by putting things in front of us or putting us in situations. If that situation causes us anger, and then we really get angry, then we have failed the test. Then we can see that, wow, okay, I have to work on this. I have to work on this. That now there is something in me that has to be cleaned. So this is the test for us. If we become lustful, that means also there is something in us that has to be cleaned out. That has to be cleaned out. Or if we are attached to anything, or if we ever feel greedy for something, then there is some. Then we still have to be medicated. We still have to be medicated. We have to take more and more and more medicine from God, and that medicine comes in the form of the Shabd. That Shabd heals us. It harmonizes our system, and every opposite of God, like anger or ego or that, every opposite of God gets washed out. Slowly, it gets washed out. And whatever we used to be so attached to, slowly, it drops. It drops, it goes away, and we're not thinking about it anymore. Compare yourself. If you were on the path of love, compare yourself few years ago. If you have been living in master, the the most important thing is, if we have to see change in ourselves, then we have to be constant. We have to be constant. Love has to continuously clean us. Otherwise, what is the use of meditating for 2 months and then getting ourselves dirty, and then try to clean ourselves again, and then again we go down. So we have to be constant. We have to be constant and constant and constant, to keep feeding ourselves with the holy light, with the holy sound, with the love of the master, and with the attention on the most beautiful one. That attention brings the grace, and the grace changes us. Really, we cannot really change ourselves, but the grace of the master changes us. So we just pray for grace. Pray for grace whenever we see something that is opposite of God inside of us. Then that is the time to ask master, to have the inner talk with the inner master. Hey, I know that this thing in me has to go. Please, can you please take it away? And trust me, when we have that deep prayer of the master, that something is taking us away from God and we want it to go, then all help, all power, all grace is showered on us, that whatever that problem that is taking us away from God, if we are yearning so much to take it away, then it will be taken away. I have tested it. I have seen it happen in my life, that things things that were taking me away from God, I prayed to Master, Master, please, when are you going to take it away? Even though maybe I have enjoyed those things, like attachments or something. But then I prayed, Master, it's taking my attention from you. Can you please take it away? And then you will see how Master's love, Master has the sword of love, and the sword of love cuts. It cuts everything that is opposite of God, according to the fire of longing, according to the fire of that inferno of love in the heart that wants to take the soul to the oversoul. The more that inferno happens, the more the cleaning happens. The more the cleaning happens, and then we start to see changes in our life. We start to overflow with love when we are receptive to Master 24/7, and then all the opposites drop one by one. Then what happens? Our jar gets filled up to the top, and then we start to overflow into this world. We start to overflow our ecstasy, our intoxication of love of Master, and the soul always singing 24/7, singing and dancing in Master and in love. No matter what is doing in this world, it's working, it's doing a job. Whatever the soul is doing, whatever the karma is, then the soul is dancing. And the soul, when soul is dancing, it is pouring the love of the Master. It's pouring the love of the Master all around, just spilling the love, just like walking with a bucket, a big heavy bucket of water filled to the brim, and you are swaying. Then what happens when you sway with a big bucket of water? The water starts to be splashed left and right, to the back and forth, in the same way. It's like we are carrying a bucket of love. That love is full to the brim, and then our soul is dancing because it's only thinking of Master. And when we are thinking of Master, we are on Master's floor, and Master's floor is always dancing and dancing and dancing. In the house of the lovers, in the house of the lovers, music never stops. In the house of the lovers, the walls become songs, and the earth is always dancing. And when the earth is always dancing and we are holding that bucket of love, then we are spilling love left and right. Wherever we're going, people are getting Master. What? Because the love, what is love? Love is God, love is Master. People are tasting the nectar of the Lord from our jar. And that's what Master wants. That's what Master wants. Master wants us to become his hands, his legs, his feet, his tongue, his eyes. He wants to use more and more and more and more bodies in this world. The more bodies he uses, then the more this world changes. This world needs to change, and we can only change it. First, we change ourselves. Nobody can change this world unless they change themselves. So if you want to give love to somebody, first fill yourself with love, And then from the overflow of love, you can change the other person. We can change the other person only if our cup is full. So first, fill yourself with the cup, close all holes. Close all holes with the grace of the Master that leaks the love. When everything is contained in that jar, then it will start to overflow and overflow and overflow. And wow, 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 when it starts to overflow, it's something we are doing seva when we overflow, because we are just giving love to the world, and the world